Hello and welcome back to Women Who Heal. I'm your host, Natalie Ryan Hebert, and today I'm catching up with my wonderful client, Charlotte, who went through the Red Tent program a little while back, and today she's coming on to share her wonderful story of healing. As so many on this podcast do, every story is unique and inspiring, and I really hope you enjoy this interview as much as I enjoyed doing it. So welcome, Charlotte.
Hiya.
Hi. So I guess what we want to know is how did it all begin? What brought you to decide to do this program? Where were you in your life? What had you been through up to that point with PMDD that made you decide to do something about it?
Yeah, okay. So I think, like a lot of women who have PMDD, it certainly took a while to realise that's what I had. So probably took a good 2 years of experiencing the awful symptoms to realising, okay, this is what it is. And I think it started when my twins were about 6 months old. And I would just get these sort of just horrible mood swings. I just didn't feel like myself at all. And, visits to the doctors, back and forth, trying different birth control. And nobody could really, they sort of thought it had some mild depression. And I was just there, just going, no, it's not it. It's not it. But I couldn't put my finger on what it was. And things got really quite bad. I had 2 young children who weren't sleeping very well, which sort of pushed on me a bit as well. Really challenged me. And so eventually I did a stint on antidepressants because the doctors were saying, you're depressed. And so, they took away the lowest of the low, but they also took away the highest of the high. And then when I came off them, when I was getting a bit more sleep, and I didn't want, the joy to be taken away from my life either, for the sake of 4 or 5 days a month when I felt rock bottom, then I went on the Mind website and I found someone had written their experience of PMDD, and that was just a light bulb moment for me. I just went, there, that's what it is, that's what I have. I knew I wasn't depressed, but I still had this sort of monster every month that I was dealing with, where I just wasn't me. I was another person. I just I didn't.
It's like, it's great to get a diagnosis, to be able to call it something, but then you're like, okay, well, now do I just have to stick with, is this what I've got? Like, am I doomed to have this the rest of, nice to get the validation, to feel I'm not alone in this, and this is what it is. But then what? So what happened then?
So I did still feel really quite alone in it, because I couldn't get sort of the medical help that I wanted, or maybe there wasn't a medical route. I don't really know. And so some months I'd just be like, okay, well, it's over now, so good, I'll forget about it. And it was just sort of a denial thing, and then it would happen again the next month, and I'd have a few days of feeling worthless, feeling very low, not suicidal, but not wanting to live my life either, just wanting to escape my life. And then it would be followed by a few days of just complete blinding rage, and anything would set me off. And I would often have to ring my husband and say, you've got to come home, I can't take care of the children. And it was just because I was just this other person, and I would have panic attacks and things, and then a couple of days later I'd be fine again. And so I think it probably got to a point where I was just like, I have to do something about this. I don't know what, but I have to do something. So I really I got to a point where I took ownership of it, I think, because I thought, no, like, as you've said before, nobody's coming to save me. I can't keep going back to the doctors. They don't have the answers that I want.
No.
And so, I read all the information I could find. I read about tons of supplements, took all the supplements, and I signed up to like a Facebook support group. And then somehow through that, I got this email from a woman called Charisma, who was advertising this PMDD healing summit. And I thought, oh, that sounds a bit alternative for me. I like science and facts and things. I don't know.
Yes. That's true. I remember how scientific you were. Yes, well, where's the evidence for this? And
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But just some stroke of good luck, I just thought, well, I'll just join, see if it's any good, see if anything new comes out of it. And then, to my surprise, there was this like whole week of online talks of loads of people who have experience of PMDD or working with PMDD. And then suddenly I wasn't alone anymore. And there were hundreds of these women experiencing the same thing as me every month. And I thought, oh, thank God for that. And so then I saw your talk and I just thought, it was weird. It was like this gut instinct. I thought, oh, I think I should do this. And, for something that was very different to anything I'd ever learned about or experienced. And like I say, I'm very scientific, very analytical, seemed a bit strange to me, but I thought maybe this is worth giving a go.
Yeah. That talk's on the YouTube channel. If you're watching this video right now on YouTube, you can find it. It's the PMDD Healing Summit with Charisma. So you can watch the interview that Charlotte watched that went, yeah. So then you went, I think I need to do this with this gut feeling, leap of faith when I'm going to, and you booked a call and had a chat and decided, all right, I'm going to go on this journey, this healing journey in the red tent. And then what happened?
So I had I can't really remember. So I had my first RTT session with Chloe, and we worked through like the feelings of worthlessness, I'm not good enough. And I think the thing, I wasn't really sure what was going to come up. I don't know what was buried in my subconscious, because I didn't have a traumatic life or traumatic childhood or anything, but for some reason, deep rooted was something that I had thought I wasn't good enough. I wasn't worthy of a happy life.
And it's the child's interpretation. It's your little self that couldn't make sense of something. So it must mean I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
And then when you were able to see that again with your adult understanding, what could you do for yourself?
Well, I mean, okay, so it was on a sort of subconscious level, but as an adult, I can just see, if I saw a child experiencing that, I would just be saying, oh no, that's not right. That, there's nothing wrong with you. You're fine.
Yeah. And it does this understanding is sort of delivered. This wisdom of the adult is delivered to your child's self because it's all you. But you're able to access this part that's normally like locked away in the subconscious, no access to it. All you're seeing is the result of the belief in your life. I don't know why I think I'm not good enough. I just don't think I'm good enough. And when you can actually find out, how did I ever start believing that? I wasn't born thinking I'm not enough. Something's happened to make me believe that. What was it? And then you're able to go back to it, see it with your adult understanding and think, and say and show yourself, no, sweetheart, it was because of this, or because, mummy was angry, that wasn't your fault, or whatever it happens to be. Everyone's scenes that they go back to are very unique, but also very common. I see the same themes over and over again about how we start to believe we're not good enough. And then we're able to just wake up to it. Like I always say, it's like finding out Santa Claus isn't real. You just can't start believing in Santa once you know he's not real. Once you know that you are actually good enough, you always were, you can't really ever believe that you weren't again. It's just, I can't believe that.
Yeah. And it's a funny thing actually. From my first RTT session, it was like a switch. I felt amazing after the session, but it was instant as well, which I found truly amazing. That I didn't feel like that anymore, and I would, I'd get lots of things, lots of thoughts or triggers, or people would say something, and it prior to that I'd instantly think, oh, that's because I'm rubbish, or because I'm not good enough, or blah blah, and then I just didn't have that reaction anymore. It was just gone.
Yeah, because it's like the analogy I use of the grains of salt in a wound. The grains of salt only hurt if there's a wound there. So you're getting all these grains of salt, these things that were triggering the wound, but when you heal that wound over, the grains of salt just fall off, because it's like, well, that doesn't hurt me. Because and you will see things, it's like taking a lens off your eyes that used to be looking for proof of the not good enoughness. Oh, my friend can't come to lunch today, after all, she's cancelled at the last minute, must mean that I'm not really that good enough, she doesn't want to spend time with me. Whereas you wouldn't interpret it that way once you change the belief. She's obviously busy. Oh, she's sick. Oh, we'll meet up next time. You don't go to that thought, it's about what it means about you anymore, because you've changed that. So what have you, so you had two RTT, so the red tent, there are 2 cycles of RTT. You had your first session, and you felt an immediate shift, and I could see that in you on the weekly calls too, because we meet every week as a group, and and I could see the shift in you right away. And then you had another session after that. And how was the second session after you'd cleared the, how was that?
So the second session, we worked on my anger. So the second thing, just rage, really. And there were, and I didn't know what was going to come up. I'm like, what am I angry about? I don't think I'm angry about anything. And then it was funny because, like, some things we talked about in my session, I was still really angry about things that I didn't know, and I could just I could feel like Chloe would ask me some questions, and I would feel like my whole body responding, and this sort of fire. And I was like, where is that coming from? And it was just, my whole body just felt this rage from these things that we were talking about, that I thought I'd left behind 20 odd years ago, and I hadn't.
Because you might have worked on it consciously, and we can feel like, I've done that to death, I've already looked at that, and I've revisited my childhood. But if you haven't done it at the subconscious level and actually become that child again and felt what it really felt like then, and reprocess it now through your adult understanding, you don't ever really heal it. It's sort of just surface willpower and that sort of thing, but nothing deep can happen. Whereas this process, it's only a 2-hour process, it shifts things so deeply in you that you're never the same again. Or you are the same as you were born, like you were returning to your original imprint, really, clearing all of the beliefs and the layers and the shields that you put in along the way. So how did that then affect you? You were at one point calling your husband saying, you need to come home. I don't trust myself with the kids. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm so... What happened then?
So initially, after that session, I was just absolutely exhausted. But then I think that one took a little bit longer to sort of kick in, I guess, and through listening to my recordings. But again, it's just the rage used to just come from nowhere, and you wouldn't know what was going to set me off. I wouldn't know what was going to set me off. But so I just felt very sort of scared of myself when I knew I was in that time, and it just doesn't happen. I don't know how else to explain it. It's just, I do get angry. Things do make me angry still, but there's a rational side to me there now that's going, okay, you're angry. Okay, why are you angry? Okay, let's deal with this, and have a conversation. Like, one thing I've never been able to do is, if someone's made me angry, I would lash out maybe, but then I would just bury it. And now I've had a few instances where someone's made me quite angry, and I've gone, okay, why have they made me angry? And I've calmed down, and then I've gone and had a conversation with them, which is just not something that I would ever have done before.
It's very adult, isn't it? It's the very...
I know, fancy that.
Very grown up. And see, whereas if you've still got it all stuck in the child level of yourself, it comes out in a very childish way.
Yeah.
Very explosive, tantrum, unable to find the words to really express and talk, because it's so it's childlike, the anger. Whereas you've been able to heal that there, and then and there's other tools in the program too, aren't there? And how did you find those, the weekly lessons that you did?
Really good. It was when I started the Red Tent, all of the lessons were just completely alien to me, like nothing I'd ever done before. But I really sort of threw myself into it, and I said, well, I've got to make time to do this every week, and I did. And I did get a lot out of it. I know a lot of people, when you've done previous interviews, have said about the armchair exercise, and I don't really tend to need to do that now, but I think some of the things where I can't even remember what exercise it was, but around meditating around, well, not even meditating, just sitting with a feeling and going, right, where does this come from? Why do I feel like this? When have I felt like this before? And I found that really, really hard. But I think in one of the group sessions, we made a real sort of breakthrough there. And that's why I'm like this. Oh, okay. And so I feel like putting the effort in and spending time doing those exercises every week has made a massive difference as well. It's sort of it added on to the RTT as well.
Yeah, there's sort of the deep subconscious work, and then there's the conscious work, because the conscious mind's not lacking in power itself. It's the mind that you make choices with, and the subconscious mind is where all your preferences are stored. And how do we update our preferences? By making new choices over and over again, which is why the recording as well that you listen to with RTT is something you listen to every day, because the repetition rewires the mind. The new choice you make, keep making the same choice over and over. Your subconscious says, shall I just wire this in? Because you save you thinking it all the time. A bit like riding a bike. It ends up becoming automatic because you practice it first, and then your subconscious wires it in. And it's the same with any thought. And I noticed before we had this, before I hit record, you were talking about how you are catching your thinking much more now, like you're feeling a bit sick and going, I just feel awful. But then saying, well, come on, it's awful. That's a bit much, isn't it? And actually catching yourself and reframing. So if you want to, do you want to tell a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, that's something I've really noticed. So I guess it's a little bit like the armchair in terms of observing your thoughts. And, I do still have negative thoughts, or I have these sort of instant reactions that go, I feel awful, or why have they done that? Or, but then it's like I've got this instant reflex, this other voice sort of saying, well, hang on a minute, is that true? No, is it really? Do they really think this? Do you really feel awful? Or, if something goes wrong, I've got this voice saying, well, is it really at the end of the world? Is it disaster? What can we do about this? So, and that just wasn't there before. I've just got this sort of rational voice in my head now.
More space too, because when you worry, how much time did you used to have in your head worry and ruminating? Like, how much time of your life did you reckon that used to take up before?
Oh, probably loads.
It's just like hours a day, isn't it?
Yeah, and it stops you from sleeping as well, because
you sleeping. And and you've got young babies, so you're already every minute of sleep's important. And then the way it makes you feel all day long, because our feelings respond directly to our thinking. And if the thinking's just kind of tumble dryers of negativity, then you start to feel it physically in your body. Whereas when those tumble dryers are quietened and stopped, which is what we do with the metacognitive work in this program, combined with the RTT, suddenly there's much more space. And you can start to use that space to create, and to use creativity, inspiration, and ideas instead of worry and rumination. And that changes your life too, because you can become much more of a creator in your life. So how far? So you finished the program how long ago? So how many cycles of your your menstrual cycle, how many have you had now? And explain, just tell what it's like now compared to what it was like before in a nutshell.
Okay, so I think I've had 5 cycles since finishing. And I'm not going to lie, I had a couple of wobbles. But I've realized what some triggers are, and certainly alcohol and not sleeping, in my premenstrual phase, is a recipe for disaster. So that's another thing to sort of be wary of. But after, so that was sort of at the beginning, but I reckon I've had 3 or 4 cycles now where just nothing, absolutely, like just feeling normal the whole time. It's just and the first couple of times it happened, I was just, I got my period and I just thought, oh, I can't believe it, I actually can't believe it. And so then I was like, oh, must be a fluke. And then it's just, now I sort of just sail through that time. I mean, maybe I get the odd day or two feeling low, but not necessarily at that time. It could be some other external factor that's caused that. But I just look after myself so much better now, that I just go, okay, I'm feeling low, it's not going to last. What can I do about this? How can I make myself feel better? How can I sort of pause, calm down, take some time for myself and feel better? And then it sounds so straightforward, but I can recognize, instead of just carrying on and trying to ignore it, I'm just going, okay, well, I know it's not going to last. And I just, like I say, take better care of myself. But yeah, I just looking at my my initial form that I filled in for you before I did the red tent, I was just a completely different person in that time.
But you still feel like you.
Like I've not, well, I think the problem with PMDD was that I didn't feel like me in those days. I felt like a completely different person. This thing would take over me, and I just I didn't know who I was or how to get from one minute to the next. And that side has gone. So really, I do feel like me all of the time now, rather than
some of the time,
90% of the time.
What do you think that part was?
I don't know. Well, it was just,
after all you've been through now, everything you've learned, the huge inner journey that you went on, what is your understanding now about what that was, that part that you felt wasn't you? What do you think how would you explain it to somebody now on the other side? What is it?
It's all the bad things I've ever thought about myself, and all the things that I was angry about that had happened to me in my existence, all bearing down on me and going, we're coming out now.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, it's like Eckhart Tolle calls it the pain body, because that's what it's like, isn't it? And it's kind of dormant, and then it's just the hormone shift and the pain body, where all of everything, like you just said, has been kind of stored away, and it wakes up and it just possesses and floods you. And the key, and we think if we just hate this pain body enough, it'll pack its bags and leave, because we end up hating ourselves in that time, and abandoning ourselves and judging ourselves and feeling so guilty and all of that stuff. But the key to it is not to run from the pain body or to try and kill the pain body. It's to actually heal the pain body, which is what the process is. And when you heal it, it's like shining light on a shadow. It just, like you said, it's just not there now. And if anything did surface in you again, if ever you did have like a wobble again, what would you think of it now? What would you do now that maybe you or think or handle it? How would you approach it now?
Well, I feel like I've got lots of things available to me. So like I've said already, I've got this sort of second voice that's going, okay, you feel bad now. What can you do to take care of yourself? What can you just going, okay, I need some time to myself. How can I get that? I ask for help now when I didn't ask for help before. I have been, since doing the red tent, I'm actually a lot more open and honest with my close family and friends about PMDD as well, which is ironic because I don't need the help so much now.
I was like that too. I'll talk about it till the cows come home. Now, at the time, no, that was my deepest, darkest secret.
Exactly.
No one could know.
Yeah, exactly. I was so ashamed, and now I'm like, I had this awful thing. Thankfully, I don't have it much now, but so I've got lots of people around me who I can call on for help if I need it. But as it happens, I don't really need it so much now.
Yeah, you've got this. You've got this kind of loving parent, as we work on within you now, and she knows what to do, and she's got the voice, and she comes to you and says, well, come on, Charlotte, it's all right. What do you need? How can we meet that need? And you can do that for yourself. And now you can do that. This is this empowerment. That's what being empowered is all about. Is when the power comes from inside of you. You don't need to try and get it from elsewhere or be lovable because someone else says you're lovable. You know it. You don't need someone to tell you. It's always nice to hear, but you know it yourself first. So imagine there is a woman right now watching this, and she's seeing this whole story, and she's thinking, oh, I don't know if this would work for me, and should I do this, and should I invest this? And it's hard for women who don't feel they're worthy to invest in a program for themselves. I understand that. What would you say if you could speak to her one-to-one?
Yeah, well, I would say, okay, I completely understand that, especially on the investment side, because I was like, I can't spend this amount of money on me. That's, what if it doesn't work? But I'm so glad, and I would say go with your gut. If this feels like this could help you, then you've got to try it. And I'm like the biggest skeptic, or I was the biggest skeptic, very scientific, very analytical. Oh, this can't possibly work. And I'm so glad I just threw myself into it. It's just if I could have done this 20 years ago, I would have done it 20 years ago. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Like if you think about, yes, there is an investment, but I always think, what does it cost you to not do something about it? Like it's going to cost you so much more, isn't it? If you look at your children, just that alone, don't even think about, how your career will be or how you feel in yourself or your marriage. But just if you just think, just parenting alone, what's it worth to be this Charlotte other than the Charlotte you were before?
Yeah, exactly. It's priceless.
It's priceless, isn't it? It's, you've changed your kids' lives. And so they're going to be different. You know what a childhood, the marks it can leave. So you've done something for your children as much as for yourself and for your unborn grandchildren, because they're going to benefit. All the generations to come will benefit because of what you did here. Like it's so valuable what you've done. And
the red tent makes you very aware of what impacts events and attitudes can have on you for a lifetime from your childhood. So I'm so glad that I did this while my kids were still young. So like you say, they can benefit as well, because they just want a happy mum who doesn't fly off the handle, or who can't get out of bed. They don't deserve that.
Yeah, and they don't understand it, and then they wonder why isn't and the only, like, as you probably learned yourself, a child will never make the parent wrong. They'll make them, it must be me, because they're very centered on themselves, children. So, or I must be making mummy sad. Or if mummy was happy, my other mummies seem happy, why isn't my mummy happy? It must be me, and then suddenly this not enoughness gets passed down through, it's no one's fault. It didn't start with you or even your parents. It gets passed down, but you've done something wonderful, and you've broken that chain. So now your children are going to have a mother who knows she's lovable and worthy enough, and that is going to benefit them as well, and everybody around you. A huge ripple effect. Yeah. So thank you so much for sharing your story, Charlotte. I really appreciate it. It takes a lot of courage to come out and share your story, especially when it's something that you've before hidden away. And I was the same. So I really appreciate it. It's and I admire your courage for, sharing a story to help another, because you probably heard other people's stories on YouTube and thought, well, maybe this would work for me. So every story is something inspiring for another. So yeah, thanks very much.
That's all right. It's a pleasure, and like I say, it if this helps just one other person, then it would have been worth it. So.
If you found this episode helpful, I'd love it if you could take a moment to rate and review the podcast. Your support helps us reach more women who might need this message of hope and healing. And don't forget to share this episode with anyone who could benefit from it, a friend, a sister, or someone in your community. You can follow me on Instagram at Natalie Ryan Hebert and at the Red Tent PMDD. I'd love to hear your thoughts and connect with you there.